Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to the team at BMW Specialist Cars Stevenage, I'm bringing you an in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust video for this 2019 BMW Z4 M40i First Edition. BMW Specialist Cars Stevenage currently have this, in addition to many new and used high-specification M models for sale, so make sure you check them out via the direct link in the video description. The Z4 was first unveiled at the 2002 Paris Motor Show and went on sale in 2003 as a replacement for the outgoing Z3. Since that time, the Z4 has gone through several different iterations and engine options, such as a more hardcore M variant and 2 model updates, with its latest Z4 being the second. It now shares its platform with the latest Toyota Supra, but offers quite a different package. It comes in at 4,324mm long, 85mm longer than the outgoing Z4, 1,304mm high, 13mm taller, 1,864mm wide, 74mm wider, and has an unladen weight of 1,405 kilograms, but comes in with a 50-50 weight distribution. There are currently 3 different production versions of the new Z4, 2-litre and 3-litre with a sport version, and an M40i. This first edition model is limited to just 444 models worldwide, with only 45 UK cars, and comes in frozen orange metallic. Before we can view the engine, we first need to pull the latch found to the right of the driver's footwell twice. Now moving around to the front, as the second pull removes the need for a catch underneath the bonnet, it can be easily lifted up and self-supported on 2 struts. Looking at the underside of the clamshell style bonnet, we find quite a large area of heat shielding, and looking down, we can see how it wraps around the arches on either side. Now looking at the engine, the lateral struts are prominent structures and help to make the front end more rigid and responsive. The Z4 M40i shares its engine, a front-mounted twin-powered turbocharged inline-6 with other M40i models. It produces 335 brake horsepower and 500 Nm of torque. This output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 4.6 seconds, and a limited top speed of 155 mph. Once finished with, the bonnet can be easily lowered and secured. This launch edition is sitting on 19-inch front and rear cerium grey double-spoke M alloys. 18-inch alloys come as standard. Braking is provided by this M Sport braking system that is differentiated by its blue calipers. Stability comes from a rear M Sport differential and adaptive M suspension that can offer up to 10mm of ride height adjustment. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the exterior in-depth tour from front to rear. The new Z4 still starts with the same front 3 intakes, but they are now presented in a far more muscular fashion. The M Sport versions come with these flared lateral intakes, and these additional gloss black intakes as we move centrally. There's a more squared off central intake with an extended front bumper below. The iconic kidney grills above are presented in a far more angular style than before, and now come with a 3D cerium grey honeycomb grille. Moving up, we find the LED daytime running and adaptive LED headlights with cornering and matrix anti-dazzle functions. These come as standard here, but would otherwise be an option. The bonnet features new dynamic line designs on either side, replacing the standard 2 inner and 2 outer of the previous generation. Moving back, we find a slightly bigger windscreen with 2 wipers below. This material roof comes in to replace the metal roof from the previous model. The optional anthracite with silver details can be found here, but black comes as standard. It can be used at up to 31 mph and takes 10 seconds. I'll demonstrate its mechanism later in the video. We can now move to the lateral aspect of the M40i. Behind the front wheel arches, we find these enlarged M model specific air outlets, with M badges ahead of it. There were slimmer horizontal outlets in the previous car. Moving up, we find the now squared off electrically adjustable mirrors with integrated indicators. Moving back, the door handles are now presented separately from the body of the car, with the oval to the rear hinting at the car's keyless entry system. The fuel tank is placed close to where it was in the previous model, with the flap over the right side wheel arch. Thanks to its spring action, it can be easily opened with a light depress. The tank itself has a max capacity of 55 litres, with the car returning a combined MPG of 33.2. Moving up, the glass rear window can still be found, but the corners have been smoothed out significantly here. The rear of the new Z4 also feels a lot more muscular than the outgoing model, with its higher arches. There is also a more pronounced ducktail spoiler. Moving back, the first thing we find is the LED brake light strip that has been moved here from just behind the roof. The rear light complexes below now come with a far more angular design than before, with the LED reversing strip above the brake lights instead of underneath. On either side of the central BMW logo, there are smaller, more defined model insignia, and under this, but just above the number plate, is the reversing camera. Optional in other models, but standard here. The car also has front and rear parking sensors. On either side of the rear bumper below are these new indentations with internal reflectors, new for this model and specific to the M Sport models. Moving centrally, the new Z4 has a properly defined rear diffuser with the M Sport trapezoidal exhaust tips that come with unpainted interiors. Let's hear how it sounds, first in comfort and then in sport. Now we've finished the exterior in-depth tour, we can move inside. The key fob is quite similar to before, with buttons to lock, unlock, the configurable button below, and physical key inside. Now opening the doors, the handles are easy to locate and the doors pull out smoothly. The new Z4 features a vastly improved cabin in comparison to the previous model, with high quality leather, piano black inlays here, BMW's new operating system 7, and new seat design. We can now start the interior in-depth tour with the doors. The top panel is now more angular than before. It starts with a physical lock indicator and runs onto the Harman Kardon speaker that would otherwise be an option. Moving down, the first line of double stitch is more straight than before and has a leather upholstered panel underneath it where we find the door release, internal lock and seat memory controls, also typically an option but standard here. The second line of dual stitch now runs closer to the top and acts as an accent to the controls above. Below, we find the padded leather upholstered armrest with controls for the electric windows and mirrors, new handle design, and second door speaker from the 12-speaker Harman Kardon HD sound system. Finally, there's a third row of dual stitch with an open door storage area underneath. If we take a closer look at the lower speaker, we find this integrated ambient light strip that we will explore more later in the video. Now moving into the car, the sill is neither high, wide, or that low, so ingress and egress is a comfortable process. Moving along the sill, we first find the M40i model-specific kickplate. As we move up, we come to the bonnet latch, then a storage and access area, exterior lights, parking sensors and cruise control buttons, and the first manually adjustable air vent. Moving to the left, we find the updated and well-padded multifunctional M steering wheel. Taking a closer look, we find thick leather padding, with controls for the cruise control system to the left. Horn and BMW logo centrally, steering wheel heating below, and cool, voice, volume and trip controls to the right. Moving back, the button on the central column can be depressed to start the car. Looking ahead, this new fully digital screen has replaced the two analog dials of the previous model. From left to right, fuel level and range, time and speedo, mileage with display above, rev gauge with drive mode, exterior temperature and engine temperature to the right. Looking up from this, we find the HUD that's currently displaying radio and media and speed information. Below, we find the redesigned dash that starts with an upward-facing vent, then the raised instrument hood and HUD projector, central demist and speaker, and finally another vent to the left. Moving down, we find the new 10.25-inch touchscreen display that now runs BMW's new operating system 7. The different menus can now be found running down the left-hand side. The user can configure this home screen however they wish, by swapping these options in and out. We start with the screen for the full AM, FM and DAB digital radio, where we can select from the station list in addition to saved music collection, Bluetooth and mobile devices. The communication screen is next for stored contacts, telephony functions, BMW assistants and messages and mobile devices. Navigation controls come next with quick search, home address, local points of interest, address input, contacts that can be navigated to, and GPS coordinates can all be found on the menu. We can use the controls below or fingers to navigate around the large screen, which is quite responsive. Going back to the main menu, we can select car. Driving information comes first, where we find journey data. Sport displays that show pressure, temperature, power, torque and central G meter. Then a driving style analysis, and finally an energy flow graphic. In vehicle status, we find information regarding tyre pressure, engine oil level, fault messages and service requirements. Then settings, where we first find general settings. Then driving modes. The car's two configurable driving modes, Eco Pro Individual and Sport Individual, can be viewed and adjusted, altering damping, steering, engine and transmission settings. There are also controls to configure exterior lighting, driver assistance for collision assists and speed warnings, to adjust and change the appearance of the displays, door and vehicle access, ambient lighting to adjust the system's colour and brightness. And finally, to assign a function to the lowest button found on the key. Driver profiles and a digital copy of the owner's handbook come after. The apps screen comes after, where the user can view and use downloaded and downloadable apps. Now back at the main menu, we can click the icon top left to go into this screen's configuration page, where it can be fully customized. Moving down, the previously asymmetrical air vents are now symmetrical and finished in aluminium and come with the hazard light and button to access the car's intelligent safety features such as lane departure and collision. Underneath, we find a new button array for air conditioning and ventilation controls. 3-stage passenger's heated seat. Front and rear max D mist. Auto AC. Passenger and driver temperature and air direction controls with intensity selector centrally. Recirculation. AC menu. Max AC and driver's 3-stage seat heating. The CD player can now be found below with controls for mode, volume and on-off, track selection and skip track. The AC and ventilation controls were found under these in the previous model, but now we find this metal cover that can be pushed back to reveal a small storage area with USB and 12-volt connectivity and a wireless phone charger to the right. Once finished with, the lid can be easily slid back into position. Moving back, we find the redesigned central column panel, now with all the controls together. We can start with the direct access controls for the infotainment system: media, home, map, communication, navigation. Then the main menu control wheel. The user can utilise the touch-sensitive top as well as twist, tilt and depress. Behind this, we find 2 remaining buttons for back and options. To the right, we find the new gear selector for the new automatic 8-speed ZF gearbox. It features physical controls such as unlock, so it can be moved back or forward into position, and park at the rear. Manual changing can be done here or with the paddles found behind the wheel. Moving right, there are several other controls for, from top to bottom: traction control off, parking sensors, stop-start, engine on-off, direct access controls to change between the drive modes, then the parking brake and electric roof controls behind. Moving back, there's a dual-width leather-upholstered armrest which can be opened using the button in front of it. Inside, we find another small storage area with USB connectivity and 2 cup holders. Once finished with, this area can be easily closed and secured. Looking back and between the seats, we see the wind deflector and rear window. The seats on either side have been completely redesigned. They are now more refined, come with subtle quilting to the headrests and noticeably more side bolstering. These seats are also electrically adjustable and heated as seen before, with movement controls found to the sides. If we move the seats forward, we find 4 additional speakers, a small access area into the boot, and additional netted storage below. Now moving outside, we can view the roof mechanism that, as mentioned before, can be used at up to 31 miles per hour and takes 10 seconds to fold away or close with the engine on. The small button we saw inside needs to be held up to open and depressed to close. With the roof secured away, we can take a look at the new struts and front and rear aesthetic as the car really should be seen. Now back inside, we can take a look at the new glove compartment. It is lockable and can be opened easily. It's also illuminated and offers quite a lot of capacity. Once finished with, it can be easily closed. Moving outside briefly, we can view the car's final storage capacity in the boot. It can be unlocked using the key, but needs to be manually opened. Boot space in the new Z4 has been increased by 50% over the previous model to 281 litres. This capacity remains the same whether the roof is up or down. Now taking a closer look, there's a netted area to the left with the medkit, access panel into the front, removable floor for the spare wheel and wheel accessories, elastic strap to the right, and small closed area in front of it. Once finished with, the lid can be easily closed with a firm depress. Now moving back inside briefly, we can view the car's final few features. The large leather upholstered sun visors can be pulled down to reveal illuminated vanity mirrors. Looking up and to the left, we find the new control panel for SOS calls and the reading lights. Below, we find the new auto-dimming rearview mirror that does provide seemingly good rear visibility despite the soft top. So that concludes my in-depth exterior and interior tour of this 2019 BMW Z4 M40i First Edition that's currently for sale with BMW Specialist Cars Stevenage. You can find all their contact details in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.